Now, we know it's tough at the moment for many people with the rising cost of living and then last week the news of interest rates going up and a recession looming. For those who've always struggled financially, it's likely they'll face even more debt and some of us could be worrying about it for the first time. Well, joining me now is Matt Dronfield from Debt Free London Group that provides free expert advice. What kinds of things have you been seeing people coming to you for help with?
Thanks so much for having us. The challenge is enormous. Over the last year, we've seen a 300% increase in those access our free advice service, and people coming to us with help with their housing costs, their utility bills in particular at the moment. As you know, the cost of living is rising so much. Just this week, a client was in with us crying because they can't feed their family and pay their bills. So we offer a range of advice, and the important thing to kind of mention is that everyone's situation is unique, and 1 in 9 Londoners are now struggling with their finances. So to seek that advice as early as you can.
So some tips then, I guess some tips for people who are already in debt and worried about falling further into debt.
Yep, so the first thing to do is take a breath. Right, as I said, debt is really common and there's lots of people here to help. Our advice is always completely free and confidential. You can give us a WhatsApp message, give us a phone call if there's somewhere private for you to do so, and we'll take it step by step. Our advisors are trained and FCA regulated, so they'll look at your income and expenditure and see if there's savings you can make or how we can maximise your income. After that, we're able to negotiate with your creditors on your behalf, so you're not alone in this situation. But as I said, the earlier you seek that advice, the easier it's going to be and the more tools our advisors are going to have in their toolbox to be able to support.
And what about people who aren't quite in the red yet but are starting to get a bit panicked about it all?
So seek that advice as early as possible. If you've got credit cards, you mentioned around how interest rates are going up, see if there's a 0% card that you can jump to see that loan. If you're nervous about doing that, our advisors can support you to look through those as well. Yeah. And
we're hearing more people are using cash at the moment. Is that a good idea?
For many of our clients, cash can really help them budget because they can see physically how much money they're spending. But ultimately, for our clients, lots of people just don't have the money to pay all their bills. So again, that advice and seeking out how you can maximise your income and reduce your expenditure is really, really crucial.
So obviously we know that interest rates are going up next year. People are going to be worried about their mortgages, loans that they've got coming out. What would you say to them to start doing now?
So to start looking around and again seek that advice. 2/3 of the clients that come and seek our help is all around their housing costs. And even if you don't have a mortgage, if your landlord's mortgage goes up, those costs are going to be passed on to you in your rent as well. So there's not many deals out there at the moment as there was a few years ago. But the important thing to mention for this one is around if you're struggling to repay your mortgage payments, speak to your lender as early as possible. Let them know the situation you're in, see if there's a mortgage break that you can take, but don't just ignore the problem. If you ignore the problem, it will get worse.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in to speak to us. And you can contact Debt Free London on 0800 808 5700. That's either by calling for free or you can message on WhatsApp as well. They also have advice hubs across London based in local citizens' advice, law centres and other community settings. Have a look at their website too. More details are on there. Debt Free London, details on the screen for you there.